The following is an excerpt from Adventures in Grey Polyester Volume 2, entitled The Mist Rolled In. This is a tale of my very last shift at the Cove. It also happened to be the last time I stood near Boar Lake, and for good reason. It had been a while since the roaring incident, but only a few weeks since the Malibu sub incident. And with only a few days left in the season, I was feeling more comfortable. I still would not go near the wood line, but I was comfortable being out on the docks by the boats. It was a long dock, the longest dock I've ever seen at a marina, actually. And I rather enjoyed going to the end of the dock and watching and listening to the lake's waves splash gently. At the end of the dock, I was easily 50 feet or more into the lake. And as I stood at the very end of the lake looking out, I felt a strange sensation. As I stared into the water, it felt as if it stared back at me. It felt like it wanted me to go in. I did not, obviously. I resisted the rather strong urge to drop myself off the edge of the dock and wondered why on earth I had the urge in the first place. Now, Boar Lake actually has a rather lengthy list of drowned victims. In its credit, including a family member of mine from before I was born. This moment left me wondering if all had been accidents, or if the lake had actively sought to devour some of them. I shook this thought away, regarding it as silliness. But I decided all the same that perhaps it was time to remove myself from that environment and put my boots back on dry land. Just as I began to turn around to leave, movement out on the lake caught my eye, and I squinted, trying to get a better look. In the limited light, it looked like a massive black mass was barreling towards me. I pulled my flashlight and shined it out to discover that it was, in fact, a wall of mist, which is odd for this time of year, so I wasn't exactly comforted by it. The mist hit so fast that it actually wet the front of my gray uniform, and it hovered there around me. Quite literally went from moving at the speed of a car to a dead stop once it reached me. It enveloped me, and I could see nothing, absolutely nothing. My visibility was about a foot in front of me and no more. I couldn't even see the dock if I looked down, just my waist surrounded by mist. Now panic began to fill my mind. After all, I was at the edge of a dock, some 50 feet out into the lake, and I could not see at all. So walking back across the dock was a hazardous prospect at this point, because I couldn't even see my feet, let alone where I might be putting them. As ridiculous as it sounds, I decided my best bet might be to kneel down on the dock and crawl my way back so that I could see. But before I could do this, something happened which robbed me of my logical thought. A massive splash sounded off behind me and made me jump, followed by another off to my right, and then a third directly in front of me, which soaked me from the knees down. As soon as that water hit me, my instincts took over. Fight or flight is a funny thing to analyze. See, my normal response is to fight, but not in this case. Perhaps it was due to the lack of visibility, or perhaps the threat was greater than I could comprehend. I don't really know, but my body took off running in the only direction where I was not hearing splashing. to my left. I ran as hard as I could, with splashing happening all around me as I ran. I ran so hard that I tripped at the point where the dock met the concrete and went ass over tea kettle. Luckily, my tuck and roll reflex was still pretty good, and I managed to come right back onto my feet, still running. I was now off the dock, but I was still surrounded by mist and unable to see. And of course, my flashlight was no help at all. In a split second, I made an educated guess as to the location of my car and booked towards it, hoping that I would run into my Buick and not anything else. Just when I became afraid that I'd misjudged and was going to end up in the woods, I actually ran into the passenger side of my car. I quickly unlocked the door and jumped in, locking it behind me. I climbed over into the driver's seat just in time to see water hit my passenger side window, as if a bucket of water had been thrown on it. I reached down and pulled my gun from my ankle holster. I wasn't sure what good it would do me, but it certainly made me feel better. I sat there, hyperventilating, pistol in hand, for what felt like an hour. Most likely it was more like 5 minutes. But in either case, the mist rolled on through and was gone. And I was left sitting in my car questioning whether or not I was losing my damn mind. Luckily, I never had to work that site again. And I can assure you that I will never willingly go anywhere near Boar Lake at night for as long as I live. I didn't sign up to live out a damn Carpenter film.